WDWNT, the worldwide leader in Disney Parks news. This is ParksCenter. Hello there, everybody, and welcome to ParksCenter. Please silence your phones at this time. Joining me on tonight's show, we have Patrick. No, the phone's not the microphone.
You
it
can
wouldn't
unmute.
be an appearance on a show if I wasn't muted inappropriately.
You're
Hey,
not
everybody.
wrong.
Yeah.
Jill?
Hello.
Rob?
Hey.
And Pete?
Sivako! Cheers, everyone.
Cheers is an appropriate introduction. Let's start things off with the Regal Eagle, which did actually open today. There was a little bit of confusion about the opening date for this, and it happened. We've got a full tour up on our website. It is gorgeous. We've also got a full review of every menu item they've got. Pete, I think you were down there earlier today. Did you get something?
I did. Actually, I'm very upset I missed the official tasting with the group because Tom texted me at 1 a.m. if I wanted to go, and he said, we're going tomorrow, which I guess to him, because he didn't go to sleep yet, was that day. But I received a text when I woke up at 6 a.m., and I said, sure. So I thought we were going Thursday. So I went on my own today, and I did a little bit of a sampler. I had a bunch of different things. Here's what I'll say. For a quick service restaurant, I was pleasantly surprised. This isn't going to be the best barbecue food you ever had, but for a Disney quick service location, the food was pretty good. There was nothing that wasn't edible. The food was all better than any Italy pavilion booth at any festival.
Low bar.
To be honest, my favorite was the North Carolina pork butt. It was tender. It was delicious. Really enjoyed it. The chicken was a little dry. What else do we have? The brisket was okay. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't the best brisket I had. Mac and cheese was pretty good. The Texas toast or the garlic bread there wasn't bad. To me, the best thing about this place is the atmosphere. They reuse the space, I think, in the best way possible. It's a fun vibe. You kind of feel like you're at this barbecue place somewhere in the South here in America. They got the paper towels on the tables. I have to say, inside and outside, I think that's the best and coolest part because I think everyone knows at Disney are clamoring for napkins at festivals or restaurants that are quick service, and having those on the tables was amazing. One of the letdowns I thought was the bar outside. I was super excited for a draft house, and I thought there'd be cool drafts. And it's not that the drafts weren't good, but they're old beers you can kind of find anywhere at Disney. They had Fat Tire. There was High Lie IPA, which you have everywhere. They did have a tropical IPA, but again, wasn't that impressed with their beer list. The cocktails were pretty good. I had 2 of them. I did ask the bartender. I was like, do you know if they're going to rotate these drafts? And he's like, we're going to kind of wait and see on the response because, I don't know, you figure for a draft house, they'd have the fun and exciting drafts you can't get anywhere, but you could literally get High Lie and most of that draft list in not only Disney Parks, but in Epcot somewhere else. So
Jeez. With
that being said, the atmosphere is cool. It's a good repurposing of what they had. The food is a good quick service option. And, yeah, that's kind of my 40-second review.
About 40 seconds left.
I was really disappointed, like Pete was, with when you talk about a draft house and then you give me everything that's available everywhere else. I'm not really a fan, but the mint julep sounds amazing, and the moonshine drinks. I think moonshine cocktails really should be getting more attention. One of the best drinks I ever had was right before Hoop-Dee-Doo review at Rex the Halls. They had this moonshine hot chocolate, and it was amazing. So I'm really looking forward to getting down there and getting a moonshine sour.
Oh, my gosh. Those drinks before Hoop-Dee were great.
Mm-hmm. Yum, yum in the tum-tum.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like that this is actually a better themed... Hey, look, it's Jill. Hi, Jill.
There she is. She's a mime.
It's a better themed Muppet thing than Pizza Rizzo's. Actually, I mean, just looking around it looks like there's more Muppet touches than there are at Pizza Rizzo. So I'm kind of excited to get down there and take a look at this place too. But also the inside of the Liberty Inn, the one that was here before it, was a little bit sketch. I mean, I don't think a lot of people went there. It seemed very old and needed some updating. So kind of kind of to piggyback on what Pete said, I kind of think the theming looks amazing, and I can't wait to get there and try it.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see this myself. Jill, you didn't really get much of a chance. Did you have anything you particularly wanted to add to that, or are we good?
I do appreciate that Liberty well, first of all, I appreciate that this finally opened. I mean, I think that we've been waiting for this to happen for months now, so yay that it finally happened. I don't know what the deal is with Epcot restaurants opening like months after their original date. But I'm glad to see this place got an overhaul. Liberty Inn was pretty sketch. Rob is right. And, people only went in there because they had to, or, it had air conditioning in the middle of World Showcase. So that's kind of a nice stopping area, but that's about it. I'm not a big barbecue fan. So like the actual food doesn't really excite me all that much. And I'm kind of bummed to hear that the crafts, the draft house piece of it is underwhelming and doesn't offer anything original, but I've kind of given up the idea that you're going to get original, like good selection of beer anywhere but at festival booths in Epcot. So
yeah, that's fair.
But
we're now
glad
over
to hear
Disney
that
Springs
good.
with the new City Works. That's probably your best option. Yeah.
Moving
anyway,
Epcot over to the Magic Kingdom. We have got an impending makeover to Cinderella Castle, which that's always gone over well in the past, hasn't it? This doesn't seem like that. Like this is concept art. It hasn't been done already, no. But maybe it's just me. But I think that actually looks kind of classy. Like we've seen some weird castle things, like cake. And this looks nice to me. I think this. Other people feel more strongly about this than me because I'm just kind of neutrally happy.
I think it is a great update. I feel like it's right in time for the 50th, the gold flex to go with the golden 50s golden, right? 60s diamond.
I think so.
Right.
Yeah, the golden anniversary. So it matches the theme. The little twinge of pink is a nice touch. And thinking about it now as a new dad is like, well, that castle was my castle. And this one going forward could be her castle, and it's something that the first thing that she'll see. So I'm really excited about that.
That's awesome. I think you're giving some hatred to the cake. I think we look back on the cake and it was a horrible mistake. But when they re-upped Sleeping Beauty Castle in Disneyland with the 60th, I think that was a neat looking castle. And then also the updates they do at the holidays, I think, are always a really nice touch. So I don't think they always do a bad job in updating the castle. But I think the weird thing is I feel like the article said something about this was in keeping with the 70th of Cinderella, which opened March 4th, 1950, which 70 in gold, like to Patrick's point, doesn't make much sense. So I do think it's for the 50th of Disney World. But the thing that is kind of sad to me is that there'll be a lot of people over the next couple months that come to Disney World for the first time, and when they see the castle, they're going to see it with cranes and scrims and all the things that have been happening to the other castles around the world recently too. So it's got to happen at some point, but I hate that it has to happen for such a long period of time.
And then those same people will go to Epcot and they'll see how jacked up the whole front of Epcot looks, and they're going to be like, "What is with Disney parks?"
Yep.
Yeah, I find it is kind of rough that you've got like the front, like the big sort of main, the park icons in two parks, basically like surrounded by construction right now. But yeah, I think this looks really classy. I totally agree. It doesn't really feel like, I mean, I know it's Cinderella Castle, but this does not feel like a project for the 70th anniversary of Cinderella. This sounds like a project for the upcoming 50th of Magic Kingdom and Walt Disney World. But yeah, I think it looks, the concept art looks gorgeous. I hope it comes out like that. And I think it'll be a really nice, classy touch without disrupting the sort of, nostalgic original that's there now.
Yeah.
All right, so here's my deal. I agree with all of you guys. I think it actually looks pretty darn good. I think in the past, on this show or another show, we talked about like how we were semi-afraid of what they were going to do. We knew they were going to do something for the 50th. And there was a little bit of nervousness in all of us of please don't do anything too extreme or crazy or make this a pastry. So I'm happy the way this looks. Here's a concern that just that I had right away in hearing it is that I love Happily Ever After so much. It is now that Illuminations is gone, the best nighttime spectacular, and probably the only one that's worth going out of your way to see compared to all the other ones. Is that I just hope that the new colors don't affect any of the projections and how good that show is, and that they thought that through and worked with that team and are doing any kind of color changes they have to do. The turrets will be a lot darker of a blue. Who knows what the gold will do with projections? Will it reflect them back? Will it be as permanent? So I hope through all of this, I think it's a beautiful change. It's elegant. 50 is obviously gold. 70th, by the way, when we guys touched on this, is the platinum. So unless they're putting like platinum touches on this, that is not for Cinderella at all. This is clearly for the 50th. So as long as they don't touch, in my opinion, the best nighttime spectacular, Happily Ever After, then it has the Carney blessing and it looks beautiful. Cheers to you. By the way, Regal Eagle opening tonight.
Oh yeah, nice.
All right.
Can I just say that if Patrick's going to say something so sweet, he needs to say it at the end the next time, because I feel like he said this like sweet thing and then we like stomped all over it. So just save it for the end.
Honestly, I was trying to give Pete points that whole time. I'm like, where's the button for the noise? Not what I was doing.
Oh,
God, I miss points, Patrick. I miss points.
Ding, ding, ding. Me too.
I miss the pit of despair.
We're gonna have to bring that back at some point.
I have an apartment in the pit of despair.
How, but... oh my gosh. Well, speaking of despair, if you're experiencing some gastroenterological despair waiting in line for Runaway Railway, we got you covered. There will be that's the wrong word. There we go. There are going to be restroom passes available for Runaway Railway. So if you need to use the loo while you're in the queue, you can get out of line and get back in. I'm kind of excited to see this. I'm a little surprised they think they're going to need it. Like, I'm kind of done with these 4-hour
definitely going to need it.
Yeah,
this is the first 50 ride. Yeah, I'll let Joe go. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that's the thing I find most interesting about this is, this seems to hint at this expectation that there are going to be really long waits for this ride for a really long time. I mean, I totally understand the first few months there's going to be huge crowds for this because it's new and that's what happens. But even then, like, I don't know. I feel like all of these people are expecting like 3 and 4 hour like Flight of Passage level queues for this ride, and I don't know. I find that's not what I see happening, and maybe I'll be wrong, and maybe but I mean, how many rides in Hollywood Studios can you have with like multi-hour waits? It's just I just don't think the park is even there's too much else with long queues in this park to sustain that. You've got Slinky Dog, you've got Toy Story Mania, you've got Rock and Roller Coaster, there's the whole, Rise of the Resistance situation, there's Millennium Falcon. So I just don't think that expecting this to have queues, multi-hour queues well into the future is a accurate expectation. But that's just me. Also, I think Lou in the queue. I was gonna make a cute joke that Lou in the Queue would be a really fun like Disney version of a Dr. Seuss book.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, sorry to think of that.
Yeah.
I was going to say though,
like in the UK, Lou in the Queue. That's amazing. I would love that in the UK pavilion. Anyway, go ahead, Rob. Sorry.
Anyway, no, I think I disagree, because every time I've thought, they bring out a new attraction and that the line's going to go down, it never seems to. Like when they did Snow White or the Seven Dwarfs, that line is still insane. Frozen is still insane. Even though they added, multiple tracks to Toy Story and a new theater to Soarin', both of those still stay at an hour. There are a lot of people that are still waiting in lines for these other rides. Flight of Passage, you mentioned, Navi River Journey is still long, even, and Slinky Dog's 2 years old, and it still is like a 3-hour wait, especially now that people, get there early in the morning for rides and have no place else to go. So I definitely think this is going to be a long line, especially because it's the icon of the park, especially because this attraction has been down so long. But the other thing is a lot of the things that they've added to Hollywood Studios are all rides, and they're replacing shows that were large capacity shows. So when you think about like Lights, Motors, Action and how many people that would eat up for a day, and take out of rotation for the lines, I think that's why we're seeing these huge lines, is because they're getting rid of the shows that are high capacity and replacing them with these rides that are awesome. And I miss that I love that there are so many rides, but I do think that that's going to be a problem. And it seems like, I don't know how they're going to fix it and make it go away anytime soon, but I bet Runaway Railway is long lines for at least a couple of years.
Yeah.
I'll just say this real quick, and I won't say anything about the Avenger show at all, I promise. Is you can't put a bathroom in every single line because a new ride is going to be new and popular and exciting. However, you are putting Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway in they're using the Tower of Terror as the icon, but that Chinese theater, when you walk in, is the icon. It is the focal point. It's the weenie of the park, and you're putting it in there, and it's the first ride with Mickey and Minnie, like the mascots of Walt Disney. So it's going to be popular. They're using all this new technology. It's got OG Imagineers on it using new technology. It's going to be a popular ride for a long time and have long lines. I'm glad they at least have a plan for restrooms. Doesn't need a restroom in there. If it costs a ton and you can spend that money somewhere else on something, listen, I'm giving Disney the benefit of the doubt here talking about money, but at least they have a plan. It's just, we can't think that the bathroom has to go into every new attraction. It would just be insane. People should just, do the old-fashioned thing of, do you have to go to the bathroom before we get in line? Okay, This is a 3. It's not like you don't know how long it is either. There's technology that tells you the length before you get on. Oh, it's going to be a 3-hour wait. Who went to the bathroom last? Okay, let's go now, and then we know in an hour Billy's going to have to go to the bathroom. So it is what it is. In terms of bathrooms, I'll leave it at that.
That's a really good point, that this is targeting a kind of a younger demographic where bathroom usage might be more frequent. So that said, though, I'm really upset that you interjected there, because I had the best transition ever off of that. We were complaining about there not being enough shows in Hollywood Studios, and then let's talk about the Avengers show coming to California Adventure, which maybe we can import, please, because this sounds kind of cool. So a recent audition listing went up for this show that gives us some details about the characters that are going to be in here. So we've got Black Widow, we've got Black Panther, we've got Captain America, we've got Spider-Man, and we have Villain. A dynamic stunt actor to portray a villain-type character between 5'11" and 6'3", with an athletic, broad build. Skills may include acrobatic, tumbling, sword-wielding, handling, and rappelling. I don't know why they want somebody so repulsive, but I guess for the villain role it makes sense. That was a pun. And I'm really curious who they're going to, who is the villain going to be in here? Are they going to take some obscure villain from the comic books and they don't want to advertise who it is? Are they taking somebody from a film that hasn't come out yet? Are they what's the angle here? Why don't we know who this is?
Guys, Tom Corliss is between 5'11" and 6'3", just so
Oh,
no! All right, I'm done with you. Go ahead. You guys go.
If you look at that, it talks about this build and stature. To me, that reads only 2 people that could be. I'm thinking Thanos or Doctor Doom. Those are the 2 that really hits, and I'm thinking about, it's not going to be... It has to be a big-ticket villain. It can't be somebody like Loki, as great as his role is in the films. He's not that big-ticket. He's kind of always been the hench villain. And I think Doc Doom and Thanos are really all it could be.
Yeah. My money's on LeFou.
That's such a good idea. Oh, God, LeFou.
Dr. Facilier.
No, that's
all
it.
Right, Robin,
that's the one.
Robin's a real opinion. Please
save us.
Dr. Facilier. That was definitely it. Didn't it say something about being able to wield a sword?
It did, but it said may include but are not limited to. So it may not even include that, but it does mention it.
Yeah, like sword wielding and handling and repelling. That doesn't actually sound like Thanos or Doctor Doom to me. So if that's the case, I'm trying to think of some a Craven, like some random Spider-Man character or villain. But I don't know. It would have to be somebody big that all of these guys, Patrick, to your point, that all of these guys were after, like some big ticket villain. Loki does sound good. I mean, that would be something that would seem to make sense because a lot of people, he's a favorite, like, kind of villain for everyone. But I think if it was Loki, it feels like it should have Thor, and I didn't see Thor on that list. So
what about Taskmaster?
Okay, yeah, Taskmaster is going to be
putting it together. Taskmaster could definitely be it.
Right, in an upcoming movie. So I mean, Taskmaster's already coming out, so that makes sense.
Maybe that's especially why it's villain.
Yeah. See, you got it. You nailed it. Now
there it is.
You've seen
teamwork makes the dream work.
Took us 3.5 minutes, but we figured it out. That's the ParksCenter bet right there.
I like Merlin for anyone with a sword.
Gosh. All right. Moving on, unfortunately, to something a little more sad. We've had a lot of losses over at Epcot recently. We specifically, the Agent P's World Showcase Adventure has now ended as of 2 days ago. We've also now lost the last talking trash can in Walt Disney World, at least to my knowledge, over at the Electric Umbrella, and the Pin Central over at in the center of Epcot. That is now no more. I'm kind of sad about Electric Umbrella, honestly. That's the biggest loss to me personally. I have a lot of fond memories of like ducking in there when it's raining, grabbing a quick bite to eat, watching the fountains. Like it bugs me that that's gone. It really does.
Well, I mean, it's still going to be a restaurant, though, right? I mean, the idea is it's going to be something. So, I mean, maybe it still will be something similar, and it won't change too much. I can't imagine if Disney doesn't have to change it, that they won't. Maybe they'll still keep the upstairs and all that stuff that's there. As somebody who's like there from the beginning and loves Epcot, like Penn Central is not. It doesn't tear at my heartstrings too much, even though I always go to that pin stand because it wasn't part of the original plan. It wasn't always there. I mean, honestly, like Fountain of Nations is more sad to me that went when it did, because that was something that was such a big deal and it had such a nice little backstory and why it was there and the people pouring water in it and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, to me, Penn Central is whatever. And same thing with like Perry. Like, I think Perry's time has come because I'm excited about DuckTales being there too. Like fair. Kim Possible was fun. And then it was gone, and now it's it's the opportunity for something new with Perry, and then that's gone. And now I think if they can plus that out and reintroduce it with the DuckTales, I think that's not a bad thing. So I don't think there's too much to be sad about here, other than the fact that just like we knew from the beginning, that like Jill said earlier, this place is a war zone. I mean, it absolutely is a war zone with all this stuff happening at once. And we can say about the reinvention of Epcot, and maybe they're trying to do it for the 40th anniversary, which would be in 2022. But why do everything at once? It doesn't, and I think Pete spoke to it a little bit once about construction, but it seems like it's way too much to be uprooted at once, kind of like California Adventure was back when they did all of that all at once. And I feel for the people who have saved up all their lives to come for the very first time and see it as a war zone and as like construction walls. And they've done some cute things like the painting the butterfly wings, like the murals on the walls, and trying to be really good about directions. But it's still sad to see so much all down all at the same time.
If we keep calling it a war zone, go ahead, Jill.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, like, that, I think that's a really interesting point. So in relation to this specifically, I'm honestly not sad to see any of this go. I'm excited for DuckTales. I have no love for Pin Central. I just know I've spent way too much time waiting in line there. And Electric Umbrella, the food wasn't great. So I'm looking forward to something better.
That's right.
But do we think we're at a point now where, like, at any time you visit Walt Disney World, something is going to be under major construction? Because it kind of feels like it's been that way for a while. And it seems like it's going to be that way for the foreseeable future, between changes in Epcot, stuff being built at Magic Kingdom. By the time that's all done, or is it going to be time for Animal Kingdom to get an overhaul?
Would you want it the other way, where like they're not building or constantly creating something? See, I'm a fan of something in the middle, where I like that there's always something new coming and in the wings. but having so much work in every park going on all at once. I mean, it's very exciting, but going back, I love your point, Jill, but also like to Rob's point, if you did save up and this is the year you're coming and you've been planning it for years and it's the first time you're taking your kids or your family, there is so much going on. So again, like, I don't know if I was coming now for the first time, I can't even imagine seeing all these construction walls and how like crazy it is in all the parks. Like, you have Tron over the Magic Kingdom. Now they're going to start repainting the castle, and then they're draining the moat. And then obviously Epcot, we keep calling a war zone. Although we shouldn't do that, because then Disney will eventually call it like the 12th gate, like the 12th World Showcase, like Disney's Afghanistan. And then over at Hollywood Studios, you have, like, they just finished all this work and Mickey's about to open finally, but they're talking about doing more work in the Launch Bay area. And Animal Kingdom's just chilling. I feel like they're happy for now. They're like,
yeah.
Good. We're just gonna chill.
There's
They're
no
like,
Animal Kingdom. Forget about us. You don't need to worry about us. We're fine.
They're like, no, we're getting Zootopia in 2023. It's cool. We're just gonna chill right here. We got our animals.
Are you breaking that news right now? Are you breaking that news, Pete?
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't talk about that project. Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Anyway,
I mean,
yeah, it's just, I don't know. Like, I like construction because it's moving forward and progress, but also this is just so much going on. Like,
it is.
I hate to say this. Epcot used to be my favorite park. Like, there's nothing there except for the World Showcase, which I love. Like, tonight I just did a lap around the World Showcase, and it was beautiful. But if you have kids, I don't know, like, what you do.
Yeah.
It'll be really interesting to see what Epcot is like in between Festival of the Arts and Flower and Garden, when you've got those couple weeks of no festival and does Epcot just turn into a ghost town?
Yeah. You're going to see, like, just tumbleweeds going through Epcot. Like, what's going on here?
Oh, and then they're going to throw some e-ticket in and hope that they get the reaction they did before in studios, and it's just not going to pan out, I don't think.
You never know. Cosmic Rewind, even though it was budget cut, could be that big e-ticket. And then once all the construction is done in 2 years, there's going to be a lot of buzz over just how
down
different
those walls,
the park
open
is.
Guardians, open Play Pavilion. I think, I think
Move
for the short term, you're
bus.
right, but
move that. Sorry.
Speaking of buses, let's take that.
There we go.
And move into tonight's patent pending segment, where we ask
they
you
was
folks
just
what
sitting in the
Disney's
wings waiting for a segue.
yeah. What more appropriate park for segues than Epcot? Anyways, a new patent has come out indicating Disney's developing a technology for interactive games on vehicles, which might be implemented on Walt Disney World buses, or it really could be any transport. The patent makes it very clear that this is very broad in scope and could apply to any transport at all. Could have it so that you drop off and pick up and resume the game where you left off. There are all sorts of different ways that this could be used, and the patent does not really narrow it down. I'm going to throw this one out to the YouTube chat like we always do here, but pass it around to the panel first. What do y'all think they could possibly be using this tech for? What do you think's coming down the pike with this?
Here's what I think. I think that there could be an easy integration into whatever they're doing for the transport from the Star Wars hotel to the park.
Yeah,
especially because because they're I think they need to put more emphasis on the app, on the Play app, for what Star Wars Land is supposed to do. Because I think that was something they touted pretty heavily and have still not delivered on as the interactivity of that. And so if you can get the people who are as we say in radio, the P1s, the people who are like the dedicated fanboys who are already staying at the hotel, to get really involved with that, with the app, and somehow related back to the vehicle that you're on, that you're riding over there, I think that to me would be a slam dunk. And especially timing wise, it makes sense for them to file this now to try to put that together for the opening in a year or so. That would be my first guess.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Go ahead, Pete.
Go ahead, Jill. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say the thing that kind of confused me the most about this patent in terms of trying to figure out the application is the fact that there's supposed to be some interactivity with physical environmental elements within the bus or vehicle.
Yep.
They're talking about like wind and light effects, and I'm just thinking of like your typical Disney transport bus taking you from Pop Century to the park. And are they going to have that kind of stuff going on there when it's a packed full bus, or standing room only when you're coming back from the park at the end of the night? That I struggle with how that would work. So the idea that this could be for the Star Wars hotel makes a lot more sense than the idea that it would be implemented on, your average Disney transport bus.
Yeah. All right.
I think it's gonna have two places it can go. Obviously, like I think the high tech stuff and the wind and full immersion on a bus is gonna be for Star Wars. We all know this. It's gonna be how you transport to and from the hotel to Batu. I also think that this is kind of a version of the Disney Play app on the bus they could use to make you're sitting on a bus for a long amount of time on long stretches. If you go from Animal Kingdom lodges or any of those over there up to the Magic Kingdom, it's a long ride. Or anywhere late at night, buses are now sitting in traffic. The other day, I was trying to get just into the Animal Kingdom, and there was a 1.5 mile wait to the gate for all cars, including buses, for opening. This was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm pretty sure it was the same, at least a mile back up. So if you're going to have some kind of interactivity on the bus with phones, I think it can be fun. Like Disney loves fun facts and trivia, and if you have a cool bus driver, they might give you some fun facts. But if you could play some kind of trivia game, everyone loves trivia, and even have today's high family, the Carney family from New York, or, yada, 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 where they do some kind of trivia just to make the trip kind of go by faster. You're packed onto the bus tight. You're sitting in traffic. And come 2021 with the 50th, they're expecting massive, massive crowds all year long. So those are going to be full buses sitting in a lot of traffic. So maybe just something to pass the time on the low tech end. And then all the way to the top tech, I see that for Star Wars.
Yeah.
I know we're in the overtime here, but I just did a quick search for patent on wwnt.com. And I just hope that it ends up being applicable instead of these that have gone by the wayside. One of my favorite ones was the magic surface that could become transparent when triggered.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The drones that were supposed to be in Galaxy's Edge. The drones that they're going to use for painting. So, there's been tons of this stuff that they file patents for. A lot of times it's just protecting their intellectual property. I just hope we see it in some practical application.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I feel like there's a really long list of patents that we thought were going to be applicable to Galaxy's Edge that never went anywhere.
Yep. A lot of them, a lot of the articles actually say possibly for Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
You know what,
and
though?
Again, the one 5 years ago where we thought the flying Stuntronic, we're like, yeah, that's And now the flying stuntman that's a robot is happening in DCA.
But all the Star Wars stuff could still be coming for the Star Wars Hotel.
Yeah,
there's a lot of things like the training thing for the Jedi. We know that's coming as a Jedi training arena. So I think there are some things that we thought were going to be for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge that I think will still be in the Star Wars Hotel. Maybe. But I agree with your point, though. There is a lot of things that come up and we start thinking about it and then they never see the light of day. Also, one other quick thing is maybe this isn't a bus. Maybe they're showing it as a bus in the example, but maybe it's something else, something for an e-ticket that they're looking to do down the road, but they have to show it as a bus, kind of throw people off.
Yep.
Could be another possibility.
The chat seems to be currently focusing around what we already said about it. This seems like a good fit for the Star Wars transport. Somebody also threw out this might be involving the black box ride at Studios at some point in time. This might end up on the monorail or the Skyliner. I honestly think it would be a great fit for the Skyliner. The fact that you're up there with very little to do, that would be a pretty great little.
That would simulate wind?
Yeah, it's a broad patent. It may not necessarily do that everywhere.
If you're not looking out the window on the Skyliner.
Yeah.
They don't even have to hit buttons. It's we activated the wind, guys. That's why it's swaying. It's not.
Well, a lot of those effects, I was thinking, on a bus, it could be just a Florida hurricane. You wouldn't even need to have it faked.
It would be super cool. So the last time I rode the Skyliner, we were on with a couple of girls who were talking about things that you could see from the Skyliner, and so we're all searching in the skyline to try to identify where's Tower of Terror or where's can you see Cinderella Castle from here. And I think an augmented reality kind of thing on your phone while you're on the Skyliner to point out where stuff is, almost the way they have the astronomy apps that show you where the constellations are in the sky.
Or how I keep all my nieces
contact
and
me
nephews
if you want
busy
that
is
idea.
play I Spy. It's just a new version. I Spy the Tower of Terror. I Spy red Skyliner car. Okay, you win. We're here.
No,
Get out.
I Spy is what happens when you ride Star Tours: The Adventures Continue.
Oh.
Yay, bad joke. All right, moving on. On that
Great
wonderful
joke.
note, I needed to kill this, and that was the only way I could think to do it.
It's the
We are
return
running
of
so
the
long
rats.
tonight. Yes, thank you. I was thinking of that song when I wrote this. I'm like, no one's gonna get that. So the rats are back. Tell a friend. We did not think that we were going to get anything else coming back into this fountain, but lo and behold, the rats in the boat came right back.
Did we make this happen?
I would be utterly shocked if we made this happen between last week, because like this story, like they showed up the Thursday morning after ParksCenter last week, where we lamented all of the
Maybe we
losses
just
that we
reminded them that they forgot to put them out. Maybe the plan had been to put them back all along, and they saw this and they were just like, "Oh shoot!
Oh
we
yeah,
forgot
that
to
never
put the
made it.
rats back."
Oh gosh, I could see that. Like somebody just packed the rat up and just sat it in a corner and forgot about it.
They do things in phases. Listen, like they only have a limited amount of time to get these things up and running overnight when parks close before they open. And right now, of all the parks, Hollywood Studios is the least amount of overnight time. They're open late. They open early, they close late, with everything going on over there. So yeah, they got Piggy in there, and they were going to put him in, and they were like, let's just troll WWNT for a little bit, and they waited, and then we talked about it, and then they put him in. They were just waiting. I mean, they know what they're doing. They're having some fun. Imagineers need to have some fun. Maintenance has to have some fun. They had the bear's tail waiting until Tom was begging, and they just put it on there.
10 years they were waiting for that bear tail.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
what a delayed payoff.
Yeah. I'm happy to see they're back. I mean, but that's any kind of construction project. Is these guys have a limited amount of time to do anything, so they're going to phase it out. Which, just to call back, because I wanted to talk about this in the castle makeover, is I don't think it's going to be as big of a construction debacle as we were talking about. I have a feeling they're going to paint this or do this in phases, so you might just see. And the beauty of screens now is that they're painted to make it look like the castle or the building is still there. You see it right now with the city hall. So it shouldn't look as bad as we think it will, the castle. But anyway, going back, happy the rats are there. Kudos to maintenance and all those guys.
Yeah, I'm real glad they brought this back. Are we going to get any more of the fountain pieces back? Because we're still missing a few things. Like, if I remember right, Kermit and Fozzie were both in here before.
Gonzo, I think.
Is this just the beginning of the return of the rest, or is this all we're going to get?
Well, this is all that was there before for like the last 2 years or something like that. Fozzie and Gonzo have been gone for quite some time. It's not like they were there and got removed for this refurb. They've been gone for much longer than that. So it would be awesome, but yeah, I mean, I think the rats is as much of a victory as we can hope for right now.
Well, I'm glad we can get what we can get at least. So there's that.
It is the year of the rat after all.
Oh, that's clearly that's the whole thing. They're just going to slow roll it, and then they'll bring back there's a year of the bear, isn't there? Or am I just completely wrong?
No, there's definitely not a year of whatever Gonzo is.
Go check whatever chat you're in when you're hearing this. I'm sure they'll be yelling at you if I'm wrong. But that right there is going to do it for this week. Before we go, one little piece of public service announcement I'd like to announce, or not announce, but just share with you all. Tiffin Talks with Joe Rohde. Registration opened for this yesterday. So if you folks are interested in that, go check out our article on the blog for that. You can find a link, I believe, to where you can register for that.
I tried yesterday. It's already sold out.
Oh, is it really?
It sold out in like a few hours. I was there 3 hours after it opened, and it was gone already for all the dates.
Well, you missed it. Sorry.
Joe Rohde's going to miss talking to me. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, if you manage to get in and don't have plans on how you're going to be getting to Florida yet, we highly recommend that you check out Never Grow Up Vacations, the official travel sponsor of WDWNT. Never Grow Up Vacations is an authorized Disney vacation planner whose focus is in making magic for their clients, and they've got over 20 years of experience in doing it. So we're sure that if you contact them, they can help make your next trip even more magical. So head on over to wdwnt.travel to contact them about your next trip today. All right, folks, thank you all for checking us out. If you're watching this live, tomorrow night, in less than 24 hours at this point, we have the Space 220 episode of WDW News Tonight. This is going to be absolutely amazing. I have seen some of the behind-the-scenes work that's going on for this show. It is going to be ridiculous. It is going to be terrific. If you have not seen the show yet, I highly recommend you check this one out. It is going to be a heck of a show. That is tomorrow night, streaming live at 9 p.m. Eastern, and you can also watch the replay at youtube.com/WDWNT on demand. That is going to do it for tonight's show. If you are watching live and a Wigs member, stay tuned for the post show. If you don't know what I'm talking about, head on over to patreon.com/WDWNT. For as little as $2 a month, you can help support this show and get access to our post show, the post show for News Tonight, and a whole host of other benefits. So if you haven't checked that out yet, I'd recommend you head on over, check that out. Patreon.com/WDWNT. All right, that's going to do it for this week, folks. We will see you all next week.
Bye.
See the Coco. Till the spire.